Every great journey begins with a single step, and every transformation starts with that quiet moment when you finally decide that you cannot remain the same. You see, we often imagine change as something huge, something dramatic, something that shakes the world around us. But in reality, the shift begins in silence, in a whisper, in a private decision deep inside your heart and mind. It starts when you look at yourself in the mirror and admit, this is not where I want to remain. I am destined for more. That very thought, that very spark is the seed of your transformation. Without it, nothing moves, nothing changes, nothing grows. But the moment you decide to take that step, the entire universe seems to rearrange itself to meet you halfway. Sometimes we wait for the perfect time, the right opportunity, the right resources, and we tell ourselves that we will change when conditions are ideal. But the truth is, conditions are rarely ideal. Life doesn't stop for us to gather our courage. Life keeps moving. And so the power lies not in waiting, but in stepping forward anyway. That is why the first step is so powerful. It is an act of courage in the face of uncertainty. It is saying, I don't know everything, but I know enough to begin. That's all you need to start your shift. Think about the most extraordinary transformations in history. In the lives of people you admire, or even in your own life. They all began with one decision, one action, one step. The mountain climber did not reach the summit in a single leap, but with one step followed by another. The person who overcame their fears did not conquer them in one grand moment, but in the quiet choice to take one small action. The one who changed their life did not do it all in a day, but they did decide on one day to no longer remain where they were. That decision became the turning point. The first step does not have to be dramatic. It might be as simple as waking up earlier, choosing to think differently, saying no to something that has been weighing you down, or saying yes to something that calls you forward. It may look small on the outside, but on the inside it is monumental. Because with that one act, you declare to yourself and to the world that your shift has started. And once it starts, there is no going back to who you used to be. But here's what makes the first step so special. It carries with it the weight of commitment. When you take it, you signal to your own soul that you are serious, that you are ready, that you will no longer stay in the shadows of hesitation. And though fear may still whisper in your ear, though doubt may still knock on the door of your mind, you move anyway. That is the moment your strength is born. That is the moment your story changes. So don't underestimate the power of that first step. Don't wait for the perfect conditions. Don't think you need to have it all figured out. Just decide right here, right now, that your shift starts today. Because the moment you take that step, the moment you move in faith, you unlock the door to a new reality. And nothing can ever be the same again. The shift starts here. When you take that first courageous step, something begins to stir within you. It's not just about moving forward physically or making a practical change in your life. It's about aligning your heart, your mind, and your soul in the same direction. You see, most people live in conflict with themselves. Their mind says one thing, their heart desires another, and their actions follow something else entirely. And that inner conflict is what keeps them stuck. But the real shift begins when all three, mind, heart, and soul, are brought into alignment. That's when you feel a sense of clarity, a sense of power, a sense of purpose that you never knew you had before. This alignment doesn't happen by accident. It comes from awareness. You have to pause long enough to listen to yourself. What are the thoughts you've been carrying? What beliefs have been shaping your actions? What desires have you been suppressing? Often we live on autopilot, reacting to life rather than consciously creating it. But the moment you start paying attention, the moment you begin questioning why you think what you think, why you want what you want, why you do what you do, you step into the doorway of transformation. That is the point where your shift gains momentum. Think of your life as a journey where your mind is the map, your heart is the compass, and your soul is the fuel that drives you forward. If the map and compass are pointing in different directions, you'll always feel lost. If your fuel tank is empty because you've neglected your inner self, you won't have the energy to move forward. But when your map, your compass, and your fuel work together, you move with confidence. Every step you take feels lighter. Every challenge you face feels like an opportunity instead of an obstacle. That is the secret to lasting change, and don't confuse alignment with perfection. Alignment does not mean you will never have doubts, fears, or struggles. It means that even with those challenges, you know where you are headed and why. You can stumble and still move forward. You can fall and still rise stronger. Because when your mind is focused on growth, your heart is anchored in truth, and your soul is connected to something higher. Nothing can truly hold you back. What happens when you reach that state of alignment? You start noticing doors opening that you never even saw before. Ideas flow more freely. Opportunities seem to appear out of nowhere. Relationships deepen because people can sense when you are authentic, when you are living in harmony with yourself. You radiate a different kind of energy, and that energy attracts what you need when you need it. The beauty of this process is that you don't have to force it. You don't need to control every detail. You only need to create space within yourself for alignment to happen. Silence the noise for a while, reflect, pray, meditate, journal. Ask yourself honest questions, and little by little your mind, your heart, and your soul will begin to align. When that alignment happens, you don't just walk, you soar. You don't just live, you thrive. So remember, the shift is not only about doing something new, it's about becoming someone new from the inside out. And when who you are on the inside matches how you show up on the outside, you unlock a flow of strength and clarity that no obstacle can ever break. That is when your shift becomes unstoppable. There comes a moment in every journey of transformation when resistance shows up. It's that invisible wall between who you are now and who you are destined to become. And the truth is, this resistance isn't there to stop you. It's there to test you, to shape you, to see how badly you really want the change you claim to desire. If shifting into a new life were easy, everyone would have done it already. But what separates those who rise from those who remain stuck is not talent, not luck, not even resources. It's persistence in the face of resistance. Think about it. Every time you've tried to grow, resistance has shown up in some form. Sometimes it's external. People doubting you, criticizing you, or trying to pull you back into the comfort zone they know. Other times it's internal. The self-doubt, the fear of failure, the whispers that say, "What if you're not enough?" These voices try to convince you to stay where you are because growth is uncomfortable. Change disrupts the patterns your mind has gotten used to. And your old self will always try to fight for survival when a new version of you is being born. But here's the beauty hidden in resistance. It only shows up when you are on the edge of breakthrough. Nobody experiences real resistance while staying the same. It comes when you are taking a bold step forward. It's a sign you are moving in the right direction. Imagine a seed pushing through the soil. It faces resistance from the earth above it, yet that very resistance strengthens it, guiding it upward toward the light. Without that pressure, it would never grow strong enough to survive the winds and storms to come. This is why you cannot see resistance as your enemy. It is your training ground. Every setback is preparing you. Every delay is teaching you patience. Every rejection is redirecting you to something greater. And every failure is carving resilience into your soul. In those moments, you are being shaped into the kind of person who can carry the blessings you are praying for. Because if those blessings came too soon, without the strength that resistance gives you, they could break you instead of build you. So the next time resistance shows up, instead of asking, "Why me?" ask, "What is this trying to teach me? What muscle is this moment building in me?" Because every challenge has a hidden gift inside it. You might not see it immediately, but when you look back, you'll realize that what once felt like a battle was actually a blessing in disguise. You cannot avoid resistance, but you can choose your response to it. You can either let it push you back into your old self, or you can let it push you deeper into growth. And every time you choose to keep going, every time you show up one more time, take one more step, give one more try, you weaken the grip of resistance and strengthen the power within you. Remember, your shift does not come without a fight. But the very fact that you are facing resistance means you are already on the battlefield of transformation. And if you stay in the fight, if you refuse to let resistance break you, you will soon discover that the struggle you thought was holding you back was actually pushing you forward all along. That is when you realize resistance was never the barrier, it was the bridge to your breakthrough. There comes a point in every journey of transformation when vision becomes everything. Without a clear vision, life feels like wandering in circles, drifting wherever the current takes you. But when you hold a powerful vision in your mind and heart, it becomes the compass that directs every step even when the path feels uncertain. Vision is not just about what you want to achieve. It's about who you want to become. It's about the future version of yourself calling you forward, reminding you that you are meant for more than where you are right now. Too often, people underestimate the force of vision. They believe circumstances dictate their reality, forgetting that every great achievement in history began as nothing more than a picture in the mind. The tallest buildings, the most incredible inventions, the breakthroughs in human progress. None of them existed until someone first saw them in their imagination and believed they were possible. And the same is true for your life. The life you dream of, the person you long to be, the impact you want to make, it all begins in your vision. But here's the challenge. Life has a way of clouding that vision. Struggles, failures, disappointments, and fears can blur the image of what's possible. Sometimes we shrink our vision because we've been told we're aiming too high. Sometimes we bury it deep down because we fear we're not capable of reaching it. Yet, the truth is, your vision is not given to you by accident. If it burns in your heart, it is because it belongs to you. It is your responsibility to nurture it, to protect it, and to move toward it with unwavering faith. Think of vision like the lighthouse in a storm. When the waves crash and the night feels endless, that light gives you direction. You may not see the whole journey, but you know which way to go. And when you commit to your vision, even when you don't know how it will happen, doors begin to open, opportunities appear, and strength you didn't know you had begins to rise within you. The clearer and stronger your vision, the more it pulls you through challenges that would otherwise stop you. But vision without action is just a dream. It demands consistency. It demands discipline. You cannot carry a powerful vision in your heart and then live like you have no purpose. Every choice you make, every habit you form, every step you take must align with that vision. If you want to shift your life, you must shift your actions to match the future you desire. That means letting go of distractions, leaving behind old patterns, and sometimes even walking away from people who don't see what you see. And this is where many give up. Not because the vision wasn't real, but because they didn't believe enough to stay committed. But if you hold on to it long enough, if you remind yourself daily of who you're becoming, your vision will outlast your resistance, your doubts, and your setbacks. So when you feel lost, when you feel stuck, when you feel unsure, come back to your vision. Write it down, speak it out. Visualize it until it becomes so real in your mind that nothing can shake you from it. Because once your vision is alive inside you, no obstacle is strong enough to destroy it. That's when you understand that vision is not just about seeing the future, it's about creating it, step by step, day by day, until it becomes your reality. And when that happens, you'll look back and realize that your shift didn't just start with action, it started with a vision you refused to let die. Imagine for a moment that life is a journey where every step you take is shaping the direction you're heading in. Sometimes those steps feel small, almost insignificant, but they accumulate. They build momentum, and soon enough they define the path you walk. The problem is, many people spend years walking the same circle, caught in cycles of self-doubt, distraction, and fear, without ever realizing they're stuck. That's why alignment with purpose is so powerful. It's the moment you decide to stop living by accident and start living with intention. Purpose is not something far away, hidden, or unreachable. It's not reserved for a special few. It's already within you, waiting to be unlocked. The noise of the world often drowns it out, but deep down you already know what pulls at your heart. Think of it like a compass. When you're aligned with your purpose, even in the midst of storms, you'll know which way to go. But when you're not aligned, even on a sunny path, you'll feel lost and restless. So how do we align ourselves with purpose? It begins with asking the right questions. What matters most to me? What values do I stand for? What kind of legacy do I want to leave behind? When your daily actions start answering these questions, you stop merely existing and begin truly living. For example, if kindness is your value, then every interaction becomes an opportunity to align with kindness. If growth is your value, then challenges are no longer threats, they're training grounds. Alignment happens when your values and your actions stop fighting each other and start working together. But here's the truth. Alignment is not always comfortable. In fact, it will demand honesty from you. It will ask you to let go of habits that don't serve you, people who drain you, and excuses that limit you. That's why so many avoid this path. But when you step into it, you feel a deep sense of peace even when life is hard. Because you know you're walking in the right direction. And that inner peace is priceless. Think of your life like a piece of music. When you live without alignment, the notes feel random, scattered, out of sync. But when you align with purpose, the melody comes together and suddenly the song makes sense. You might still hit a wrong note here or there, but the harmony carries you. Alignment doesn't mean perfection. It means direction. And let me share something important. Your purpose is not always about the big, flashy achievements the world claps for. Sometimes it's about the quiet, consistent moments that nobody sees. It's about being the best parent you can be, the most supportive friend, the most authentic version of yourself. Don't measure your purpose by the applause of others. Measure it by the fulfillment inside your own heart. When you align with your purpose, even your struggles start to look different. Pain doesn't just break you anymore, it shapes you. Failures don't just discourage you, they teach you. Challenges don't stop you, they grow you. This is the shift that happens when you live in alignment. Life stops feeling like something happening to you and starts feeling like something happening through you. Every day, life gives you an invitation. An invitation to rise higher, to align deeper, to live truer. Don't wait for the perfect time, because that time may never come. Don't wait for the world's approval, because it may never arrive. Alignment begins the moment you decide to live with purpose, and that decision is in your hands right now. The shift starts here. There comes a moment in every journey when reflection must turn into action. It's not enough to think deeply, to dream vividly, or to plan endlessly. None of that matters if you don't take the first step. Too many lives remain stuck in someday. Someday I'll change, someday I'll try, someday I'll live differently. But someday is not a day on the calendar. Life rewards those who act, not those who only intend. Transformation begins not when you think about change, but when you commit to it with action. Action is the bridge between the life you imagine and the life you experience. Without it, even the best intentions collapse into regret. You can fill journals with affirmations, attend seminars, listen to endless advice, but unless you move, unless you do, nothing shifts. Think about it. Every great achievement you admire was once just an idea. What made it real was not perfection, not certainty, but courage to act in the face of uncertainty. And here's the truth. Action doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't need to be a giant leap that changes everything overnight. In fact, it's often the small, consistent steps that create the biggest transformations. If you want to build strength, it starts with one workout. If you want to deepen your faith, it begins with one sincere prayer. If you want to heal a relationship, it begins with one honest conversation. Great shifts are built on simple beginnings, but fear often holds us back. The fear of failure, the fear of judgment, the fear of not being ready. Let me tell you something. You will never feel completely ready. Waiting for readiness is just another form of procrastination. The ones who change their lives are not those who wait for perfect conditions, but those who start imperfectly and grow along the way. Action itself creates clarity. You don't need to know the entire map before taking the first step. You just need to start walking, and yes, you will stumble. You will face setbacks. You will question yourself. But those very experiences are what build resilience. Every step, whether forward or backward, teaches you something. The backward steps give you wisdom, and the forward steps give you momentum. Together, they shape your growth. So don't see mistakes as signs you're failing. See them as proof you're moving. A ship that never leaves the shore will never encounter waves, but it will also never reach new horizons. What's beautiful about action is that it not only changes your life, it inspires others. When you rise, you give others permission to rise. When you take action toward your purpose, you send out a ripple effect. People around you begin to see what's possible, and your courage becomes contagious. Sometimes your single step forward can spark a movement in someone else's heart. And remember this. Action is not about speed. It's about consistency. The daily effort, the quiet persistence, the willingness to keep showing up, that's what transforms. Your shift doesn't happen in one grand moment. It happens in the little choices you make every day. Do you choose discipline or distraction, growth or comfort, progress or excuses? Each choice is a step, and together they lead you to the life you were meant to live. Don't let your potential remain locked inside of you. Don't let fear or hesitation keep you from living the life that could be yours. Action is the language of change, the proof of belief, the expression of courage. Thinking about change might inspire you, but acting on change transforms you. The shift starts here.